Once upon a time in a kingdom far, far away, there was a terrible toilet. It didn't just stink and wobble and run over people's feet. It roared like a lion every time someone sat on it. One day the king got fed up with the toilet's roaring. He called all the best engineers and inventors in the kingdom and he said to them, "If you can fix this toilet so that it doesn't roar anymore, I will give you half of my kingdom and marry my daughter to you." The inventors and engineers all took a look at the toilet and shook their heads. "My goodness, how are we supposed to fix something that roars like a lion?" But the king insisted, so they tried everything they could think of. They put foam in the toilet to muffle the sound. They put the toilet on a giant pile of cushions. They even put the toilet in a box and shook the box until the roaring stopped. But every time someone sat on the toilet, the roaring started again, and none of them could figure out why. Then one young inventor stepped forward. He wasn't the smartest or the strongest inventor in the kingdom, but he had an idea, so the king agreed to let him try. The young inventor went into his workshop and worked for days, building something out of wood and string and metal. Finally, he finished his invention and brought it to the king. "My invention is not very complicated," he said, "but I think it will fix your roaring toilet." The king looked at the contraption and frowned. "What you built looks like a cross between a rocking horse and a birdcage," he said. "How is that supposed to fix the toilet?" The young inventor just smiled mysteriously and said, "You'll see." He went into the bathroom, put his invention on the toilet, and then sat down on it. The king and all the other inventors crowded into the bathroom to watch. And sure enough, when the young inventor sat down, the toilet didn't roar at all. It was silent. The king was so happy that he gave the young inventor half of his kingdom, just like he had promised. And he asked the young inventor to marry his daughter. But the young inventor had to refuse. "Thank you for your offer, Your Majesty," he said, "but I already have a wife and a family. In fact, I have something else I need to get back to." And with that, he left the palace and went back to his workshop. The king was a little disappointed, but he kept his word and he married his daughter to one of the other inventors. And they all lived happily ever after except for the toilet. Now, every time the king sat on the toilet, he missed the young inventor and his simple solution. And every time he heard the toilet roaring, he wished he had half of his kingdom back. The end. So, friends, sometimes the simplest solutions are the best solutions. And sometimes a roaring toilet is just a metaphor for the problems we face in life. You may have many smart and clever friends who try to solve your problems with big and complicated plans, but sometimes the person you least expect can come along and solve your problem with a simple and easy solution. So never underestimate anyone, and don't be afraid to ask for help. And above all, always remember, no matter what kind of problem you have, there is a solution. It may take some time to find it, but if you keep trying, you will succeed. Now tell me, dear friends, what would you do if you had a roaring toilet? And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching.